Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and to support each of you. Today, we're really excited to roll out the Business Accelerator program. Some of you have been involved with kind of the think tank group that we've put together. Most of you understand the difference between business incubators and business accelerators. And the decision from our advisory council is that we needed to provide a business accelerator. So let's talk about what it is, how it works, how the clients benefit, how you as a referral partner economically benefit, and next steps. So let's get started. So as shown here on the left-hand side of my screen, our topic today is Business Accelerator. So what you need to know, Business Accelerators are fast-paced, structured programs positioning entrepreneurial ventures for fast funding. Now, we're going to limit the number of participants in our accelerator to make sure each one has personalized, high-touch support, and will provide a cash infusion upfront and/or upon achievement of different milestones. So as far as participants, these could be pre-formation businesses or those that have been formed, can be pre-revenue. In other words, they've not made money yet. They could be in the startup phase, which means they're formed, but early on. Typically, mature businesses would not use an accelerator, though. Participation in our accelerator puts entrepreneurs on an aggressive growth trajectory. We're going to provide all of them a commercial address. And we've had other trainings where we've talked about it is so crucial. If our goal is to get our business to qualify for business funding, at the core, we must have a unique commercial address. Residential addresses don't work. Post office addresses, boxes don't work. The shared virtual offices with the Reguses and WeWorks where you have the same suite number as other people are not going to be as effective. So all participants in the Business Accelerator receive a unique commercial address and a guaranteed $100,000 capital raise. Now notice it says minimum. If the client wants more, needs more, qualifies for more, we can do more, but the minimum is the 100,000. Now, is there a cost? Absolutely, there is a cost. Participants are going to pay a one-time application fee so we can get them set up. If they apply and they're not accepted, then they will receive the application fee back. Because remember, we said we're going to limit the number of participants, but there is an application fee. And then there's a monthly cost. Well, why is there a monthly cost? We are providing them a unique commercial address, and we have to forward the mail to them, right? Because it has free mail forwarding. And then the capital raise is a minimum of 100,000. They're going to keep 90,000. 10,000 is going to come back to us, of which we're going to pay you, the referral partner, 3,000. So let's go through that again. What does it cost for a participant to be in the Business Accelerator? They're going to pay a one-time app fee of $99. If they're approved, then they will pay monthly $100 a month. And that covers the cost of the program and for the mail forwarding. And then as we help them raise capital, there is a performance fee. So we're all incentivized. Let's do everything we can to get these clients able to be funded. So again, that pivots over to what's in it for you. We have small business consultants. If you're not familiar with how to become a small business consultant, you can go to the career page over here on our website and get signed up. Learn about it, no upfront cost on the career page. But the bottom line is our small business consultants who help create awareness of the Business Accelerator, which is a new page on everyone's website. We provide all of our consultants, all the small business consultants receive a free replicated website. Looks just like this. So when you got up this morning, there's a new page on each of your websites that says Business Accelerator. So what our small business consultants do is they create awareness, and then they drive people over to the Business Accelerator page on their website. People fill this out. We'll send them the packet. And then the small business consultant earns $3,000. Where does the $3,000 come from? It's 3% of the participant's capital raise. As we've already said, when you participate in the Business Accelerator, we're going to provide the commercial address. We're going to get them funding guaranteed. Client's going to pay 10%. Of that 10%, 3% is coming to you, the small business consultant. Now, let's say they raise $200,000. If they raise $200,000, then you're going to make $6,000 because it's 3% of the capital raise. Okay, so let's drill into what is it that the client gets. They're getting two things. They're getting a commercial address and they're getting funding. If they already have a commercial address, then they would not participate in the Business Accelerator program. Or I guess if they like our address better or the package better. But this is specifically delivering two items. The commercial address, I'll talk about why that's important in just a moment, beyond what we've already covered. And then we're getting them guaranteed funding. So with the commercial address, they're getting a true, unique commercial address. There's an asterisk there. We're going to talk about that more. Huge deal. So stay tuned to understand that. It's not a shared virtual address, and we'll forward their mail, of course. We're actually hiring a new property manager. She is set to start soon. She'll be the point of contact. She'll be the one forwarding the mail. Also, deliverable one is they're going to get an accelerator advisor that's going to work with them for funding, which is deliverable 2. But before we go to deliverable 2, we need to understand this commercial address. We've already stated all addresses are not the same. We need a unique commercial address, not residential, not post office box, not shared. I think we've covered that well enough. We're all familiar with it. But beyond that, most lenders now are requiring a copy of the lease. So you can't just go to your brother or uncle or friend and say, hey, can you let me use your address? Because again, it can't be the same address that other people are using. It needs to be a unique address. But secondly, in many cases, most cases, we are going to have to present a lease, a signed, written lease, a real lease. Why is that? You'd say, well, why would the lenders care about my lease if I say I have an address? Two things. Number one, it validates that it's really your address. And then secondly, when we do large working capital loans, in many cases, the lender is going to put a lien against the assets of the business. Well, if the business doesn't have a unique address, that really prevents them from being able to do that. So we need to have a real commercial address with a real written lease. We provide that. So it's not just having the address, it's the right type of address. And it's not just having an address, it's having an address with a real written lease that meets the criteria. So you see, well, some people might say, well, I don't want to pay the $99 a month. Well, if we can't document that the client's paying a monthly lease payment, it's probably not a real lease. Now, $99 is real low, right? Where else are you going to go lease a real office for under $100 a month? Now, of course, the mail forwarding is included. We have to meet the underwriting criteria to get funding. We need the documentation. So here, we're not gaming the system. We're playing within the rules, but we're providing a real written lease for a real commercial address, and there must be consideration shown. We couldn't say, oh, we'll just give you a free address, because that's too good to be true. The lenders would be all over that, saying that doesn't sound right. So it's very cheap. It's a subsidized rent, if you want, but it is rent. No, you don't go to the office. You don't work in the office. It's a real address, and we do mail forwarding. So that's deliverable 1. Any questions so far? Okay. Number 2 is funding. So that's the real goal, right? That's really what small business owners want. Do they really care about commercial addresses? No. But what you and I know is we've got to play the game, right? We know the rules. We know how underwriting works. We need to meet the underwriting criteria, because if we don't, there won't be any funding. So deliverable 1 is not because people are excited about having a commercial address. It's because it's a prerequisite to getting most types of real funding, business funding, not personal. All right, so let's scroll on down. So what does the client receive on deliverable 2? We're going to work with them to get them at least $100,000 capital raise. At least. There's 2 asterisks here. So that means there's some notes we're going to have to review, and we'll review that in just a moment. So again, as I said earlier, that's a minimum. We guarantee in writing a minimum. Now, if they want more, they qualify for more, great, we can get more. 100,000 minimum. Better yet, the first tranche, which is just technical jargon, meaning the first round of funding, is typically going to be provided to them within 1 week. So that's when we talked about a cash infusion up front. One of the benefits of the Accelerator program, we're going to get them, in most cases, their first tranche, first round of funding right away, meaning within a week. The nice thing is that the funding can be used for whatever purpose within reason that the client wants. Some people want working capital. Some people want equipment. Some people want real estate funding. Those are the 3 main categories. So it's based upon the client's needs and preferences. We'll work with the client to identify the right type of capital based upon their needs and preferences. So, for example, if I can highlight this correctly, if they're looking for real estate, then it's going to be business real estate financing, of course. If they're looking for equipment, we'll probably do business equipment financing, of course. But most are going to either want fully or at least partially working capital. And so then we'll just work with them to figure out what the right type of capital is based upon their circumstances. Now, let's go back to the note here. So we had 2 asterisks. One of our favorite types of business funding is called the Chapman Fund. The Chapman Fund is money that comes from a taxing authority. Don't have to go through a bank or a credit union. Certainly don't have to go through one of these alternative lenders that often has high interest rates. The Chapman Fund is great. It is based upon a taxing district. So when we provide the address, it'll be in the Chapman Fund taxing district. So we can check that box. The Chapman Fund does fund startups, can be a brand new business, not a problem. We don't have to go jump through bank hoops and underwriting. That's great. Only up to 250,000 available. So if we need more than 250,000, we can use the Chapman Fund for the first tranche, first round, and then go elsewhere for the rest if needed. And that's the point on the 4th bullet. So in summary, the Business Accelerator is an affordable turnkey package positioning entrepreneurs for funding, including a $100,000 minimum capital raise with the first tranche within the first 7 days. It's not free though, right? So we want to be very transparent. So let's go over here and look at our website. So guaranteedfunding.org. I'm on the Accelerator page. Each of you should have your own replicated website that looks just like this. This is a new page we put on all of your websites overnight last night. So it should be there this morning. So you would give out people your link. It would come to a page that looks just like this. And again, if you're not a small business consultant, you can become one for free over here on the careers page. But each of you should have this website, real brief explanation, Business Accelerator. And in fact, it kind of reiterates what we've talked about over here on the training. Business Accelerators are fast-paced, structured programs positioning entrepreneurial ventures for fast funding. Our accelerator limits the number of participants and provides a cash infusion upfront and or on achievement of a milestone. Participants in our accelerator puts entrepreneurs on an aggressive growth trajectory. They can receive a unique, or they do receive a unique commercial address, again, for lender credibility, which we talked about the why of that a moment ago, with guaranteed minimum capital raise. So again, very transparent. We let them know what's the deliverables. We're going to get you at least $100,000. We're going to obviously provide a commercial address. First tranche of funding within 7 days. Is there a cost? Yes, there's a cost. There's an application fee. If they apply and they don't get approved, they get the application fee back. Is there a monthly cost? Yes, there's a monthly cost, $99 a month. That provides the commercial address with mail forwarding. Well, why do we charge them for that? For the reasons we talked about. If we can't document that we have a real written lease, it's typically not going to meet the lender's requirements for having a bona fide commercial address. And so this is the cost that covers the commercial address with mail forwarding. So what would you do if you're a small business consultant? You can spread the word. You can talk to current prospects, new prospects, and let them know, hey, there's a new business accelerator that's available. Do you know what business accelerators do? Most people are going to say, no, I don't know what that means. Well, what they are, and then of course you can just read this. This is your scripting, super simple. And all you need to do is get them to come over here, fill out the form on your page, hit submit. It'll come to us. We'll get them the accelerator packet. It'll be sent to them typically in moments, but within 24 hours, they'll get an Adobe packet. We'll copy you on it, and they will then be able to enroll in the Business Accelerator. Any questions, comments, concerns on why we needed an accelerator, how it works, benefits to the client, benefits to you as a referral partner, as a small business consultant? What questions do you have? All right, as usual, Timothy has the first question, and he's asking, how is it different than the startup business funding package? Well, several ways. The Business Accelerator is simple, easy, fast, not free, but almost free, right? Because what are they paying? They're paying a one-time application fee. If their application is not approved, it's refunded to them, and they are going to have a monthly cost. In contrast, the startup business funding package does a lot of other things. It provides the address, which is the same, but it includes things such as filing with the Secretary of State, which of course is free because of the grant, help with getting the EIN, help building business credit, transferring assets. So the startup business funding package, Timothy, does more things. The Business Accelerator keeps it simple. What do we need to do minimally to get the client plugged in and get them going on their capital raise? Great question. All right, Deborah asks, well, what if they already have a commercial address? Well, if they already have a commercial address, then obviously they don't need a commercial address. But what you'd want to do is dig a little deeper, Deborah. Okay, client or prospective client, you have a commercial address. What type of address is it? Is it a unique commercial address? And if they say yes, great. Then you'd ask them, okay, do you have a written lease? And if they have that, then you're exactly right. Then they don't need deliverable one. Could they still enroll? Sure, they could still enroll, but that's half the value proposition, isn't it? And then the other half, of course, is getting them funding. But you're correct, Deborah. Someone could have their own address. They don't have to use the address that we provide, and they could still participate. It would still be the same process. It would still be the same pricing, if you will. And same benefit to you. You're still going to make 3% of the participants' capital raise. All right, Alfred's asking about overrides. And so, well, we're not MLM, we're not network marketing, but you're absolutely right. So there are overrides. And so if you brought on a small business consultant that brought on a client in the Business Accelerator, then what happens is then they get the 3% and you get a 1-point override. So that's correct. We do pay overrides. Okay, who else has any questions, comments, concerns? I think you're going to find that this is going to be received very well in the marketplace for a couple reasons. First of which, most small businesses want funding, but they don't qualify. And so what we need to address right off the bat is getting them qualified from an address perspective, because if that's at the core of having a fundable business, is having a unique commercial address with a real written lease for the reasons we talked about. In most cases now, the lender's coming back and asking for a copy of that lease. And so it has to be credible, it has to be real. So what we're doing is providing the Business Accelerator a simple turnkey program, very affordable, guaranteed results. There is a little bit of cost, but I think it's very reasonable. And frankly, if you ran into an entrepreneur that couldn't afford a $99 application fee and $99 a month for the package, because the 10%, this is collected after they have the capital raise. They're not paying in advance for that. So no one would be unable to pay the 10% performance fee. It's after the fact. But if they're in such destitute position that they can't afford this, then yeah, they shouldn't enroll. They maybe want to start out as a small business consultant and start earning money. Or small business consultants, that's a program that's designed to give them immediate cash flow of $1,000 a day. So if you run into someone that's stone cold broke, they probably shouldn't enroll because they can't afford the application fee and even the first month. So in that case, encourage them to become a consultant, earn some income. Claude asked a good question. Can you be paid off of your own submission? So yes, yeah. So Claude, I think, is asking if he's a distribution partner. Of course, that's why he's on the training. So if he wants to become a small business consultant, if he's not already, can he do so? And then can he participate? And then can he receive the payout? And the answer is absolutely yes. Yeah. So I mean, it would make sense for anyone, I guess, to become a small business consultant and then enroll themselves because they get paid the 3%. That doesn't cut you out because, again, you're earning an override. So that's fine. Everyone benefits. Lon asked a good question about timing. So timing is they're going to pay the application fee initially to apply. If they're not approved, they get it back next day. If they get approved, of course, then we move forward. They'll pay you, just like if you went into an apartment or even an office building, it's working pretty much the same. The rent, if you want to call it that, the rent is due the first of each month. So the first of each month, everyone is paying their monthly $99.99. The first month, initially, they'll pay the $99 application fee and the first month rent. And since part of the month will have already elapsed, then they'll get credit of that at the end. So more simply put, they'll pay the application fee and the first month rent when they apply. If they're not approved, they get that back. If they are approved, then they'll be billed each month on the first of each month. And the pro rata portion of what was paid from the initial monthly payment will be put on the end, probably just like you've done with apartments or just like you've done with office space. Great questions. So I think we're going to have a lot of success because, again, a lot of small businesses want and need funding. We have a very clear set of deliverables, easy to understand, no risk to the client, guaranteed results, access to some unique funding that they wouldn't have access to otherwise, great payout for you, and just very affordable for the client, very transparent. So again, even on the website, it lets them know, hey, there's going to be an application fee, there's going to be a monthly cost for the commercial address with mail forwarding. Now, if they enroll, then we're going to go for their first tranche of funding right away. And how much will that first tranche of funding be, which is the question that Gary's asking. Well, it depends upon their circumstances. We know we're going to get them to at least 100,000. That's our promise. That's our commitment. How much they'll get from their first tranche is to be determined because we're going to have to put that in. We have a consortium of lenders, no hard inquiries. And so we can see what they qualify for initially and then get them ready for the full capital raise, which is guaranteed. But so not to confuse, we're not guaranteeing 100,000 in 7 days. That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're implying. It's possible, but that's probably not going to be the norm. They'll get an initial tranche of whatever they qualify for. Then we'll get everything set up. Then they'll qualify for the full capital raise. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, and then one more question before we hang it up for today. Claude asked, how do we define small business? Well, small businesses typically are defined as businesses that have 500 or fewer employees. Now, that probably doesn't help Claude much because obviously that's in general who we work with, and that's where most small businesses are. But small businesses, as far as who can participate in the Business Accelerator, it could be a business that's not formed yet, so it's pre-formation, or it's informally formed. It's like a sole proprietorship or a DBA. That's fine. It can be a business that has formed an LLC, C Corp, S Corp, so a partnership so it does exist. That's fine as well. And that business that exists, maybe they're pre-revenue or they're more mature. There's not filters on that. So that's why when you go over here to requirements, it doesn't say, oh, you have to not be in business yet, or you have to have been in business a certain amount of time. That's not a requirement. The requirements are they need to know, they need to accept at least $100,000 of funding. That's the promise that we're making to them, and the promise is that they'll accept it. Now, if they don't like the terms of a given type of funding, they don't have to accept it. They're not going to be pushed anything that they don't want, and we're going to help them get the type of capital that they want and need based upon their specifics. But they need to promise to accept at least $100,000. They understand that the first tranche of funding will typically be in the first 7 days. They understand that there's an application fee. And again, that's in writing, that if they don't get approved, they get that back. And they do understand that there's a monthly cost for the commercial address with mail forwarding for a couple reasons. Covers the cost of the address and mail forwarding, but also it validates that we have a real written lease. Any other questions, comments, concerns? So we're open for business on the Business Accelerator. If you're someone that's individually interested, obviously you know where to go. If you're one of our small business consultants and want to help clients with this and make your money off of it, take them to your website, to your link, take them to the Business Accelerator page, and simply help them get submitted here. Super simple. That's what people want. Simple, easy, fast. Simple, easy, fast. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. If you have any questions, of course, you can reach out to us. Our email, support@guaranteedfunding, our phone number, and of course, all of that is on our website as well. Thanks, everyone. See you back tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.